Hello again, my friends. All right, so we have another watercolor one today. We also need some colored pencils though as well. This is a great one for pattern and texture, but a super easy one to just kind of get those creative juices flowing. Do you guys want to see? Dun, 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 dun. All right, so some mountains with a river, little abstract landscape. Oh, I also used Sharpie on the lines. If you're not allowed to use Sharpie, you could certainly use black colored pencil for that as well. And then, yeah, colored pencil or crayon, or even oil pastel would work for this as well. And then watercolors. And then let's go ahead and get started. All right, my friends, this is another really fun kind of landscape mountain with a river, really beautiful. Also really fun and easy to do. So I'm going to start with my Sharpie and I am going to make my first kind of mountain shape. Maybe more of a hill. Okay guys, I have my paper landscape or hamburger and I have my Sharpie and we're just gonna get right into this. So we're gonna have 3 mountains. The first one is gonna be kind of here over to the right and I'm just gonna kind of start it like this and then go right off of the paper. All right, we're just gonna end that just how it is. And then there is going to be another one here, but we need to create the curve of our river. So what we need to do is we're going to just kind of start off in the distance, like all right, so next we need to make the curve of our river. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to start just a little bit up from here and I'm going to curve and try and connect that. If they don't connect, I can always just bring my line down a little bit. That's okay. But I'm just gonna start kind of up here, curve, and then come out. And that's gonna be one of the curves of my river. Now, for right now, I'm gonna do a couple more of those, right? Like that. Okay, the rest of them are gonna kind of connect further back. So I'm going to, from here, start kind of bringing them that way. Maybe another one comes off of there. Do you see how this time they're not starting all the way at the back? I'm going to make that one just a little bit bigger. And then how about just a couple more here? Maybe one that comes like this. All right, and then maybe I might even cut that one in two because I don't want them all to be the same size. Maybe even this one kind of gets a little cut in there. I'd say that's probably pretty good. So my next mountain is going to be, let's say we'll start at about here. And it'll go like that. And then I'm going to tuck one more in here and they're going to kind of connect. So it's going to come out and then connect over to there. Right. All right, next I'm going to make a big old circular sun. Try my best. And then I'm going to just make a few double lined kind of rays. And here's the deal. Sometimes I'm going to do 2 of them kind of close together. Ooh. Sometimes not so much. Like that one I did 2. This one I'm kind of doing all by itself. This one I might do maybe like 3. Just like that. I want it to be super uneven. Right? And that's all she wrote for the Sharpie part. All right, so I have my colored pencils and I'm basically just going to choose some fun colors in the warm tones. I'm gonna stick with reds and oranges. And I'm just gonna give some of these some pattern. So maybe this one will get some little kind of candy stripe lines. Let's see. Maybe this one's gonna get more like a plaid or checkerboard or something. Oops, I didn't really mean to go into there, but that's okay. Just like that. Let's do one with some polka dots. I don't really want a huge one with polka dots. Maybe this one. Just like that. And then maybe, I think this one I'm gonna do like, almost like number symbols. And I think I'm going to do orange and red for that one. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to that. Switch to orange. Just like that. Okay. And then how about do more of a dotted pattern. Again, you don't have to do these same ones, whatever you want to do. And then I'm going to leave some of them plain as well. So I think maybe I'll leave those as is. Okay, I'm just going to lightly shade part of my sun also. Again, just putting on some texture, right? All right, next I'm going to grab some green. Now, if you have an option of greens, I would choose a green that is slightly darker. Of course, mine that I was trying to grab doesn't have a sharp point on it. Let's see. All my greens are kind of low. That's okay. We'll make this work. Okay. In my back one, I'm going to do lines of darker green, maybe even some lime green. Again, just making some details. Texture. All that goodness. Maybe even a little yellow. Okay. Now I'm going to make one of them with dots and this one with plus signs. But I'm going to go sharpen my green pencils real quick and be back. All right. I had to make sure I'm in frame there. I'm going to, like I said, do some polka dots, pretty small ones, just like that, all over this mountain, okay? I'm then going to, with a slightly darker color, but you could use the same one, I'm going to just do little plus signs. Idea here being that, like, they're almost like all plus signs, but the further away you get, those plus signs kind of start shrinking into just dots and lines. All right, so I'm going to fill these in and then we will come back. All right, my hand is a little crampy. It was a lot of little lines, a lot of little dots, but we have made it through. So now what we need to do is fill this in. All right, my friends, you know the deal. If you've been here with me before, we almost always start with our lightest colors and then work our way darker. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get some yellow on my sunshine here, and I'm gonna do most of my rays yellow as well. Now I am going to add just a little bit of yellowish orange, or make some yellowish orange for some of them, but I am going to make most of them just plain old yellow. Maybe that one. All right, so I think from here, I'm going to add some of my yellow here into the top of my paint palette. You guys know the deal, right? Let's see, can we get that in frame? Yes. Add just a little bit of orange to it. My orange is pretty bright. Still too kind of brownish, so I'm going to get just a little more yellow, make it a little more vibrant. There we go. All right, and I'll fill these in. Again, not a huge change in color, just subtle, just a little bit. Right. Might even go just a tiny bit more orange. There we go. All right, moving on, we're gonna mix some more colors. We want some really great lime green here, so I'm gonna get quite a bit of yellow going here. Put it over here on my green side. And I like to scrape it off to really get everything I can that was in the brush. And I'm probably going to have to just keep remaking it. I'm not going to be able to make enough to finish all of these, but I'm going to at least try and get enough paint to finish one. So I would say that's a good mid-tone one, and probably enough paint to finish this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and start painting it on. Now, because it's already pretty watery, my paint itself, I'm not having to get too much more water on my brush. So I made it through, what is that, 3 dips before having to go back in with some water. When I do go into my water though, I do drag it off the side. I don't go in with it completely sopping wet from the water. Otherwise, it'll end up really watering down my color, right? Which sometimes we want. All right, so I'm going to do that same thing, but an even yellowier version here, a lighter version to go up front. All right? I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we will come back. All right, I've got my paint made. It's a little more yellowy. Again, if they turn out to be similar and you really can't tell a difference, that's okay, right? I mean, we're just kind of having fun with the mixing paints. Getting different tones of green, right? We're working on tones because they're all green, right? They're not different colors. It's all green. It's just different tones of green. We're also looking at depth, which is a big word for how deep things are. And this looks pretty deep because we have a front mountain, a kind of middle mountain, and then a far away mountain. All right, for that far away mountain, I'm just gonna do my green right out of my paint palette. Got a little too much there. You guys remember what the trick is? I'm just gonna wash my brush off, dry it off just a little bit, and then go back in and blend. And I'm not even using watercolor paper, guys. This is just regular paper. As long as you tend to it quickly, it'll be just fine. Right, just like that. Alrighty, so now we're gonna do the water, and the water is the same idea as how we were doing different tones of greens in the mountains or the hills, whatever you want to think of them. We want to do that same kind of thing in the water and use different tones. So I'm going to use a smaller brush, and I think the easiest thing to do is just start with your base color and then work your way up or down, right? Darker or lighter, greener or bluer, whatever it is. So I'm just going to start right with the blue that came right out of my watercolor palette. Didn't change it at all, just right from the blue palette onto the paper. And I don't have to make every part of this little section the same. Some areas can be a little lighter, some can be darker. Don't feel the need to blend this too much, right? It's supposed to look like water. All right, so now I'm gonna do that same blue, but much more watered down, much more water. And this one, I'm gonna leave a little bit of white in it as well. I'm actually gonna come back in here with a little water and kind of dot it up. I don't want it to be too perfect. All right, just like that. So now we've got two tones of the same color of blue, but now I'm gonna take that blue in the top of my paint palette and I'm gonna mix it with a little green. You perhaps might have enough green like I did just now from when I did my mountains. And I'm gonna come in with that in one section. Again, feel free to make it lighter in places, darker in places. Right? Just like that. I'm going to use that same color, just dip my brush in the water, and I'm going to use it over here also. So again, it's that same tone, it's just watered down a little bit, right? All right, I'm going to fill in the rest of these. You could do a little purplish water. You get creative, and then we'll come all back together, and we'll do the sky. All right, our rushing water is finished. I also added a little bit of gray to get a little bit of a darker blue. And when I say I added gray, I didn't add black because I didn't take it out of my black palette. I just used what was already in my top. You could, of course, just use the tiniest bit out of your palette as well. All right, for the sky, we're gonna do a nice blue, and you can I'm just gonna use what's in the top and add just a little bit of blue to it so that it's not too dark, but real light, okay? Want it to be blue, but not like in your face blue. Let's see. It's a little bit lighter than I envisioned. There we go. Get a little more color on there. Just like that. All right, I'm gonna do every section and then we'll be done. All right, my friends, I have finished all of the sections of the sky. It's nice and light and bright, but the contrasting colors between the yellow and the blue really just make everything pop. So I really hope you like this one, and I will see you next time.